Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for letting me do this interview with you. I'm going to ask you some questions about ethnolinguistics. Are you ready?
Sure.
Code switching is to go back and forth between two different ways of speaking or a different language. When are some times you experience code switching?
I mean, code switching is usually like in my everyday life, in that like my family uses a lot of like Spanish words to get across their points, so we like constantly switch between Spanish and English.
What about, what are some ways that you use code switching in English? In just one language?
I mean, just like talking to a person I look up to, and then like talking to a person like up here, my language differs very.
In essays, we show our communicative competence, but when it comes to texting or speaking in conversations, we break this knowledge of forming complete sentences. Why do you believe that is?
I think we as millennials are taking the easy way out, in that we don't really want to type the whole thing, or we think it's faster instead of like typing the actual like 3 letters.
In addition to breaking our communicative competence, we also practice language variation in our vernacular. Why do you think the language you use every day varies?
I mean, again, I think it depends on who I'm talking to. My language is more eloquent with someone of like, I guess, higher intelligence than me, I would say. But with like peers, I'm very lackadaisical with my wordings.
In hand with that, why do you believe we have variants, or more than one word or phrase that mean the same thing?
I think that's just to appeal to different audiences. Like, if we're talking to a child, we have like smaller, shorter words to explain the same thing. But if we're like try to impress someone, we use like bigger, longer words.
In terms of social identity, what are some groups or cultures you'd say you identify or belong with?
I mean, I'm Hispanic, so that's a culture I identify with. And then, what's the other thing you said?
What cultures or groups do you say you identify with?
I mean, kind of like I'm in a club sport, so I kind of associate with like people who go to gyms and like the more athletic type.
There's a stereotype for people who live in the far south in the U.S. known as hillbillies. Would you consider there to be a standard language ideology between their way of speaking and your own, due to the difference in the language norms of the two groups?
I mean, I believe so. Like, if I hear kind of like the stereotypical hillbilly type of talking, I just associate that with like not the brightest, I guess, and that just comes to me naturally. But I mean, they could be smart. It's just their type of language just automatically makes me think like that.
How do you think social network has shaped the way our society, or you personally, speak today?
I mean, there's like different common phrases people use just because like celebrities use it, or like it goes viral or something. Like on Vine, we hear like a ton of people use those like references all the time. It just comes into daily.
In the language we speak in our speech community, there are norms. Would you consider someone who speaks differently than us to be odd?
I mean, I consider that interesting to hear how they speak. I wouldn't. Sometimes maybe if like the accent's super big, like I would like turn my head and see. But I don't think it's like weird to see it or hear it, I guess.
In terms of language ideologies, like seeing another language as inferior or superior, what are some languages that you would think are superior? Like language or dialect that you would see as superior or inferior to your own?
I mean, superior would probably be like Old English and like the UK, and all that. And then I guess going back to like inferior would be like, again, the hillbilly kind of talk.
Thank you for letting me interview today.
You're welcome.
You just